ESPN 1063, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 1063, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
It's the 4 o'clock hour on ESPN 1063, fueled by Celsius, essential energy drinks.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a...
Josh Cohen, and HomeTeam.
This is Josh Cohen and the Home Team, streaming live worldwide on YouTube on ESPN West Palm Play. Presented by Hard Rock Bet, Florida's official sportsbook. This is ESPN 1063.
Because every single day above ground is a good day, and because I'm starting to get feeling back in my bottom lip, and my tongue, and the left side of my face, that's a good day.
What happened?
We'll get to that coming up. It is the Home Team live on that afternoon drive, and like it says on I-95, Home Team for the ride home in the HOV lane. 4 to 6 Eastern Time, ESPN 1063. 4 to 6 live on your smart speakers, your connected devices, by telling them, play ESPN West Palm. And, of course, live on the ESPN app. And if you want to watch us on YouTube, on our ESPN West Palm Play, ESPN West Palm Play YouTube channel. I had a dentist appointment today, and I had to get a root canal. So I had some dental issues that needed to be addressed, and that meant that I was all shot up, and my face was numb, and my tongue was numb, and my lips were numb. And I say were until about, 3 minutes ago. But much like Celine Dion said, it's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now.
Iconic song.
Yeah, all coming back. You guys want to join me? Or it's all coming back
to me. It's all coming back.
That's the remix. That's Jeanette Javier.
That's how it goes.
All coming back. It's coming back to me now.
I can go. Hold on. Let me pull up the
No,
lyrics.
don't do that, please.
You want me to go all out?
No.
I will. Okay.
No, please, for the love of God. So it's good because the more I talk, the more that I can feel my tongue. I can feel my bottom lip. I can speak. Not sound like this. Because today about 2 o'clock, I sound like this.
Okay.
2:30, I sound like that.
Wow.
3 o'clock, I sound like this. And now here we are at 4:05 in the afternoon drive, and we are good to go. C-Cat, welcome back. Don't know where you are, but we didn't care either. That's the good news.
Surprise visit for the mama's birthday?
Yeah, I'm kidding. Of course we knew where you went.
Yeah.
And of course we care. And of course we're glad to have you back.
Happy to be back.
Yeah. You almost blew that surprise, didn't you?
Yes, live on the air. If you were fortunate to listen to Friday's show, everyone at home, you heard me slip up and actually just spill the beans on the trip.
Yeah.
Did it spill, though?
Yeah, last Friday we were at the ballpark, and Jeanette and I were talking about discount airlines and cheap airlines and terrible airlines, and the ones that, you really want to avoid at all costs. And the one that C-Cat had, $15 ticket, and we're talking about personal items, etc. And he mentioned his flight being $15, and they had a look on his face. And we're like, you sure that's the same? And he's like, yeah. Let's move on.
And then
we were like, hold on, what are you moving on about?
Yeah, you and I were not only concerned, but really like Christian looked like he had something up his sleeve, and that's what we were trying to pull.
Yeah, it was tough.
Little did we know.
Yeah, and you said, are you sure that's the same airline? And he's like, yeah. And then he gave the old throat slash, which meant like, please, let's move on from this.
Because
I just ruined my mother's birthday surprise.
He also said Charlotte too. He said $15.
Charleston, yeah.
Charleston,
yeah. I said
Charleston. Oh, you said the city, too.
Yeah, he did.
That's the problem.
What a dummy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thankfully, she wasn't listening.
Yeah.
So-
Well, don't worry. That's a lot of our mothers. Not listening.
My mom can't understand. Thank God.
Your mom don't speak no English?
Not at this rate, no.
What do you mean at this rate?
How fast we speak.
Oh.
Which is a blessing because she doesn't know.
There's no way she's understanding the word I'm saying.
100%.
Yeah.
She doesn't know 95% of the things I've said on air, and we're going to keep it that way.
That's a good idea, actually. For you, that's probably a good idea. Yeah. I have a girlfriend. She is Colombiana, and she speaks perfect English. I mean, you hear the accent. She speaks nearly perfect English, but it's very clear that she is Colombiana. Her English is much better than my Spanish, but she says to me sometimes, she says, you talk really fast sometimes. And she said, really, sometimes I need you to slow down for me. So and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm talking just fine.
I get from my girlfriend's family, which English second language for them, Spanish their first language.
They are Cubano.
They say that they're Cuban. They say that I sound like the English language like instructors on the DVDs and the Rosetta Stones out there. They say I talk like that, like
Right.
Inglés sin barreras. And if you're Latino, you know exactly what that is.
Right. And what they're saying is you talk like a nerd. You don't use common street language, everyday English. Instead, you sound like, that's right, Josh. Let's check the leaderboard from the second round of the Cognizant Classic in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. And you sound like, here's what, when your girlfriend's family hear you speaking and you're doing that thing where you're very polished, you're polished Christian cat broadcaster, Penn State University alum, they hear, para español, marque nueve.
Yeah.
Because you sound like the dude on hold that's telling you to hit 9.
Hablamos inglés.
Yeah. Welcome to the main switchboard. Para español, marque nueve. And they're like, you're the marque nueve guy.
Pretty much, yeah. They say they can understand my English a whole lot better than they can their own daughter's English. So it works out for me.
Well, welcome back. We should do a day that we all sound like Christian and use the polished kind of voice that he uses. I mean, I do it sometimes when I need to. There are times on stage that I need to. There are times on television that I need to. But in real life, the only people I know that talk like that all the time are KVJ show Kevin Ralston, who also talks loud in public, by the way. If you know Kevin from the KVJ show, he's a radio icon. He and this show, that show and this show are the two longest running radio shows in South Florida. That means Miami. That means Fort Lauderdale. That means the Palm Beach market and the Treasure Coast market. We're the two longest radio shows, his and ours. And Kevin has radio voice. Kevin sounds like Kevin out and about. So we might be, Twin Peaks to have a couple of wings and a couple of beverages and watch a couple of games. And you'll hear Kevin say, did you happen to catch that last play and the last one there? Did you see what happened there? And I'm like, bro, I'm sitting right here. He's got radio voice. He's got pipes, but he speaks very clearly, proficient. He does the thing that you do. The polished guy, like Bob Menery. You know Bob Menery?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know Bob?
Yes.
Yeah. Bob does that thing where he talks like this all the time.
It becomes the shtick. Because that started as an act
I just think
for him.
that's how you speak. I think that's how you become. And by the way, that's how you should talk. That's proper English with enunciation, pronunciation. Like C-Cat would say, I have a question. Did you eat yet? Where I would just say, yo, did you eat yet?
It's an overreaction.
You hungry?
If I said to you, G yet, you know exactly what I said.
Right. That's also a regional type, that phrase, that G.
No,
yet.
G. It's just, did you eat?
Yeah, he took out 4 syllables, and it's what a lot of the Caribbean Latinos do.
I took 3 words.
Spanish language.
I took 3 words and made them into one non-existent word. Did you eat? Now it becomes cheat.
Yeah, no, I'm Dominican.
But you know exactly what I mean.
We do that with Spanish.
The Dominicans do.
Yeah, we do that. We take 3 words, we make it into Spanish, and then we sometimes
Do you know a lot of Dominican women? Do you know a lot of them Dominican? Sikat was asking me if you could introduce them to Dominican Poison. I think she's a webcam model or something. Is that the one you were talking about?
I'm lost here. I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know.
You seem to know more educated on the matter than I am.
I don't know webcam women.
It is Indecision 2024. Welcome to our headquarters. By the way, the election coverage this year is being deemed Antique Roadshow.
It's perfect.
I think John Stewart said this is Antique Roadshow.
He did.
And man, is he right. Robert Kennedy Jr. Who was Robert Kennedy Jr.'s father?
Robert Kennedy.
I wasn't talking to you, jackass.
It was Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, but you were struggling with it, and don't even lie. Why? Why?
I felt the cliff, and I was like, someone's going to jump over it. I had to save somebody's life there.
Okay,
And you chose to save mine?
That's
Wow.
That's the question. Did you ever? That's how you know he's lying. That's how you know he's lying. That his motivation. By the way, you lie a lot. He's a BSer. You BS a lot.
I know he hates me. It's perfectly fine.
He doesn't hate you. He doesn't hate you. But in the spot of him saying, well, I knew it was going to be a bad spot, so I wanted to save Jeanette, we all know that he's freaking lying.
Saving the show, not Jeanette in particular.
You see, he
the
hates
silence
me.
was getting to me.
Well, don't worry.
As the half seconds tick by.
I don't care.
Things will be much better for you next week, Seacat.
I don't care if the silence is getting to you. I know what works in radio. And I know the audience was like, oh, please, dear God, let her botch this. Please, dear God. And it's a great freaking moment.
I'll take that on the chin. My bad.
But instead, you're over here playing Jeopardy at home or Robert Kennedy Sr.
You did say Junior.
No. His father. His father would be Robert Kennedy Sr.
Gotcha.
The correct answer is Robert Kennedy Sr.
I got it wrong. My bad.
But the point is, why did you feel the need to ruin the bit?
Because I didn't catch the bit. The bit went past me, and I missed the bit. It went over my
Don't
head.
you
I
think?
absolutely knew what you were trying to do.
Right. I was going to say, don't you think that I would think that you would know the answer, Seacat?
Maybe. I don't know.
Don't you think that
I had to think about it. That's the thing. It didn't immediately light up in my head, the question. Because I thought there's a lot of Kennedys out there.
Well,
wait a second. When you have the JR.
It was cute that you saved me.
It was cute. It was cute. The problem was he didn't do it to save you. He did it to prove how smart he was.
Yeah, it's true. Very selfish.
Yeah, I think that we dig deep down. That's the core of the reason I did that.
100%.
Is it really?
We get to the bottom of it. We found it.
Is it the truth?
That is the truth.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Jackass.
Yeah. I just didn't want my reputation soured. I want people to know that I knew that.
But I wasn't talking to you, though. I guess I have to say Jeanette. I guess I have to address specifically. Jeanette, that question was for you.
Okay.
Because I knew that I could tell by the look on your face that it was going to be radio magic. And maybe give us one of those moments that we could just relive for years to come.
Not anymore.
But instead, Seacat was the kid in third grade that was like, with his hand raised. With his hand raised. I know. The correct answer is 2 fists.
He's the one that, when nobody did their homework and the teacher doesn't mention it or that she forgets to collect the homework. Seacat's the dude that's like, oh, teacher, are you going to collect the homework from last night?
Yeah, don't forget, you asked us to do homework. Or at the end of class saying, excuse me, Mr. Wilson, you didn't assign homework for tonight.
Yep.
I am the first guy because if I did the homework, I want that homework to be accounted for.
That's great.
I don't want the same amount of work to be done. Yeah.
That's great. Turn your microphone off. Go sit on the toilet because you're in bathroom timeout. You're in toilet timeout.
Wheels are rusty. A couple days off.
I guess so. What were you going to say? Just out of curiosity, what were you going to say when I said Robert Kennedy Jr.?
Robert Kennedy?
Nah, shut up. Get out of here.
When I said who was his father, who were you going to say? Do you know what you were going to say?
No, I wasn't.
Were you going to say JFK?
Yes, I was going to go JFK.
You really were?
I actually was.
That's what I thought.
That's why it took me a while to think about it. I was like, JFK, I don't know, but I know he died, but he did leave kids. He might be too old. That's what was literally going through my mind.
No.
And then I thought of Marilyn Monroe and the happy birthday.
No. So really, if we're problem solving this,
okay.
The J of JFK would have told you that it wouldn't be the correct answer because Robert Kennedy Jr. would mean the first letter would have to be.
Exactly. See, I'm smart.
You are. We got deprived of that because Seacat felt the need to. I know the answer.
Come check my homework. Come check my homework.
RFK Jr. has said, that's Robert Kennedy Jr., he's running for president as an independent, and he is considering Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets quarterback, to be his running mate. On the ticket, the official independent ticket for Vice President of the United States. This, according to the New York Times. Rodgers has yet to comment. Seacat tells us you covered this story all morning. You've been all over this. What do you know about all this?
I know it's an attention grabber. I know Rodgers is on vacation right now, so he's not really been in the presence of mind. It's not like he's on the Pat McAfee show and just said no comments or anything like that. We just haven't heard from Rodgers quite yet on the matter.
Right.
In fact, I think RFK chose his running mate, has not announced it. He left names that are in the running for it.
Got it. So
the decision's been made.
Right. So what this does is it gets people realizing that he's running. It gets people talking about the fact that he's running. The Kennedy name is a very special place in America, and it always likely will. In fact, that legacy in history will probably grow grander as time continues on because we're not that far removed.
And a sad one.
JFK assassinated in 1963. Robert Kennedy Sr. a couple years later. Teddy Chappaquidda a couple years later. Then we've got John Jr. in the plane crash in July of 1999. And then, of course, Rory and the sleeping pills and driving under the influence. So we're in that situation where the Kennedy name is still, like, it's American royalty.
Mm-hmm.
It's the closest thing that America has to royalty is the Kennedy family. And if you're the son of Robert Kennedy, well, then you're going to get attention regardless. But we're talking about this dude for the first time on this show ever because he is considering Aaron Rodgers to be his running mate. Now, he may not actually be choosing or may not be serious about, but what it does is it gets the news talking. And what that means is it makes people go, what? There's another candidate? That's got to be better than these two antiques on this roadshow. Because you may not be Biden, you may not be Trump. We don't talk politics here. We're not going to talk politics here. Politics is the most personal thing. Whatever you choose and decide for yourself is what it should be. Don't let anybody sway you or tell you you're an idiot or wrong on Twitter or on Facebook or anything else. You decide for yourself whom you believe is best suited to lead this country into where it is you believe that we need to be. But this is a huge publicity stunt by RFK Jr. Now folks are saying, get him on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Get him. In 1980, there was a dude named John Anderson. He was on the ballot between Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan, and we all know how that went, particularly for Ronald Reagan, how well that went. So I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a legitimate contender, if you will, for the ticket, but you never know because he's not young, and that team isn't necessarily great up front, and he's got a torn Achilles, and could you imagine the attention he could get? And could you imagine the platform he would have to share his thoughts on science and medicine and eating butter until you evacuate, as he did that, whatever that thing's called. Do you know what that thing's called?
No.
That trip that he did? A.J. Hawk, who is the Green Bay Packers all-time leading tackler and a member of the Pat McAfee show that you see on ESPN, he had reaction to his former quarterback and now weekly during season podcast guest and the idea of him being a vice presidential candidate.
No, I had no idea. And if he did actually tell me that he was going to, thinking about making a run for the VP, I probably would not even have any follow-ups. I'd say, okay, yep, sounds about right for, what you've been doing.
What you've been doing.
It's not like that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, nothing would surprise me right now.
Yeah, I think we all kind of feel the same way. Like when we read it, we go, of course. Sure. Of course.
It'd be sweet if you did it both, though. Why not? Do it. Do it while you're leading the Jets back to victory. That'd be pretty cool.
So here's the problem. You don't run for vice president. You get asked to be on a ticket. And a lot of times the VP candidates are people that tried to run for president and then it didn't work out so good. And so they suspended, as they call it, quote unquote, suspended. I love that. I love that in politics, so-and-so has suspended their campaign. Mm-hmm. Like Richard Lewis, the comedian and actor, has suspended his life. He's suspended.
He's coming back.
Not over. He suspended it.
Yeah.
But Nikki Haley, you suspended your campaign. Why don't they just say, I got to drop out.
You out.
Yeah, I got to quit on
Au
this.
revoir.
A.J. Hawk told us a whole lot of nothing there. Other than the fact that he is unaware of how it works. I think he thinks that it's middle school and it's student council where you run for vice president of the school. You don't run for vice president. You are added to a ticket, and then you help the campaign that your presidential nominee and or candidate is elected. Here's the thing. CCAT wants to know how Jets fans should feel about this. That's a question that you're asking, so I'll answer it for you. If you're a Jets fan, I think you're feeling like, dude, you better play football because we wasted all last year waiting on you. Jeanette, what do you think?
As a Jets fan or just a fan in general?
The question that C-Cat asked.
Oh, Jets fans probably.
He wants to know, how should Jets fans feel? This is C-Cat's question.
Jets fans should probably feel a little confused.
Confused?
A little confused that the dude that they pretty much put all the eggs in the basket for, instead of coming back, like you said, focus on football.
But why would they be confused?
Well, what does Aaron Rodgers want to do? Does he want to go to the Jets and play football, or does he want to be in politics?
But wouldn't they be confused if Aaron Rodgers had said, yeah, I'm interested in this, I'm serious about this? Then they could be confused.
Yes, but at the same time, if your name is prancing around the ballot, then I would be confused.
His name is Prancing?
No, his name is prancing around the ballot. Like, his name's being tossed and dancing around being on a ballot.
Well, no. Robert Kennedy Jr. has announced that he has several high-profile running mates in mind. Amongst them is Aaron Rodgers.
That's why he's prancing around the ballot.
I think you're misusing prancing. Do you know what prancing means?
Dancing around?
Okay. C-Cat, answer your own question. How should Jets fans feel?
Annoyed, tired. They've gotten 4 snaps
Why,
of the Aaron
though?
Rodgers experience, and they've gotten headache after headache.
But you
after
said it
headache.
yourself. Rodgers hasn't yet addressed it. He hasn't acknowledged it. He hasn't expressed interest in it.
But he made this bed in his reputation, and now he's laying it in it. And the Jets
Because
fans, the Jets
somebody
franchise is laying it with them. Yes.
Because
if
somebody
Aaron
put him on a
Rodgers-
wish list?
Yes. If Aaron Rodgers didn't open his mouth up, got that instant gratification from a certain side time after time after time, and saw that's the people liked, that's what got the clicks on the Pat McAfee show, he would stop doing the politics. But people liked what he was saying. People found it polarizing, so he kept on doing it. Now you find yourself in this news drop.
So I think a better question we should follow up with now is this. Would you be comfortable with Aaron Rodgers being a heartbeat away from the presidency? Because as much as people think, well, vice president, so what? That's going around. That's diplomacy. That's an ancillary role involving international relations on that level of shaking hands and taking pictures. Would you be comfortable with Aaron Rodgers being a heartbeat away from the presidency of the United States of America? And mind you, you can't do both jobs at once. You can't be vice president because the only way Aaron Rodgers, you understand, could be vice president and also quarterback at the Jets is if his entire offensive line were Secret Service agents. So Secret Service agents are going to have to become the Jets offensive line or vice versa. That's the only way it's possible. You were saying.
Going to have like security checkpoints to get onto the field because the opposition, they got to make sure no hardware on, no weapons on those guys in the D line.
And the problem is somebody is going to come around the edge. Chris Jones from the Chiefs is going to come around to sack Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to get tased. Yeah. He's going to get tased by a Secret Service agent, so you can't do that to the Vice President of the United States. Would you be comfortable with that? We've had unqualified presidents before. Don't get me wrong. We've had Ronald Reagan was governor of California prior to being the president of the United States, but they made fun of him for making movies with monkeys. Like he was in movies with a chimpanzee, Bedtime for Bonzo or something.
Bonzo.
We had a president 2 terms back, number 4 or 5, who was a reality TV star who came from The Apprentice on NBC. In Donald Trump. We've had people that had never had not just executive, but elected official significant experience. Again, Reagan was the foray, if you will. He was, because he was California's governor prior to, but he was a showbiz guy. Would you be comfortable with Aaron Rodgers being a heartbeat away from the presidency? It's pretty serious, pretty important job.
I would say yes because of my wrongful apathy on politics. Like, I don't care. That'd be interesting. That would give us a lot of stuff to talk about in the air. So, yeah, I would say I'd be comfortable.
Can you talk about stuff on the air if the planet is annihilated due to nuclear holocaust?
If somebody just boop that button.
Right. Can you?
Probably not. No, the world would be over. Or sports talk would be a back burner for sure.
So I would not be comfortable with Aaron Rodgers being a heartbeat away from the president of the United States as things stand. If he quit football and said, I'm going to study international diplomacy, public policy, and I'm going to learn and understand how government functions and what those roles are. Then, by the way, who was America's first female president? By the way, before we go any further, here's a question for Mr. Smarty Pants. Okay, jackass, Mr. Know-It-All.
All right.
Well, how come when I said jackass, I was talking to you? What's up with that? How did you know that? Why did you know that?
Had a feeling. 50-50 chance.
I said, all right, jackass, and he replied.
Because it would have been one of the nicest things you've ever called me.
Jackass would have been one of the nicest things I've ever called you?
Yes.
Okay, jackass. There you go. One of the nicest things you've ever called. All right, Christian. Who was America's first female president?
There has not been one.
That.
Really? I missed it?
You did miss it. Yeah,
What happened?
You did miss it. It happened in the last 2 years. It happened. The president of the United States required a medical procedure, which meant that it need be signed over temporarily that the vice president of the United States, you know who the vice president is?
It's Kamala Harris.
Close enough. Yeah, we'll go with that. Kamala Harris was the acting president of the United States for a quick, short window of time, which means that she was America's first president of the United States. Not elected, but serving in the office of. That's a good trivia question.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Earlier today, our own Evan Cohen addressed this idea of Aaron Rodgers and if he's been more harm or more help to the Jets organization since his arrival. Because when he showed up, it was going to playoff games for the Rangers and the Knicks, and then it was Hard Knocks, and then it was taking the field with the giant American flag on September the 11th. We will always remember. We will never forget. May God bless America and those souls lost. And then it was 3 plays in. He's gone for the season. Has he been, even with this added in, the Robert Kennedy Jr., Aaron Rodgers is being considered as my running mate on the ticket. Has he been more harm or more help? Take a listen.
Aaron Rodgers is allowed to become a vice president candidate if he'd like. Aaron Rodgers is allowed to join RFK Jr. and be a part of this campaign. He's allowed to say anything he wants. He's allowed to do anything he wants. That is totally fine. But enough telling everyone else about the distractions, Aaron Rodgers. You are the single biggest distraction maybe in the history of sports. I don't know a distraction that is greater than Aaron Rodgers that I have ever seen. T.O. doing sit-ups in the driveway is less of a distraction right now than Aaron Rodgers because this story's been out for 12, 16 hours, whatever it is, and nobody has squashed this. It is out there. We are talking about it. He has every right to do this, but don't tell me that other people are distractions. The Green Bay Packers are in a great situation right now. The New York Jets, enough. This is a mess beyond comprehension.
The First Lady of the Delusional Republic, Jeanette Javier.
Hi.
You agree with Evan?
I can't believe it. I disagree with him.
Why can't you believe it?
I disagree with Evan Cohen.
But why though? Why can't you
because
believe
I
you
actually
disagree with him?
want Aaron Rodgers 2024.
What do you-
Stone had this image earlier today. I am here for it. I am so in Rodgers 24. I have never rooted for any other 12 outside of Tom Brady. But here we go.
Right. So what Jeanette is doing right now, let me apologize for and take accountability for. It is illegal to campaign for candidates over the airwaves, as obviously FCC rules indicate.
It's a joke.
And I understand that, but I have to clarify this now, that we have broken the law. And the FCC will recognize as such. She was unaware of how that operates. And now for other candidates, they are entitled to equal time. So CCAT will find out how much time it was that she rallied for Aaron Rodgers. And then we will afford that to any other candidates that would like to be added to the ticket. And then equal time will be afforded.
Well,
Yes,
it was
CCAT.
a joke and done out of sarcasm.
Now, I'm going to work the phones. I think we can fit in Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump.
Jay. Yeah.
Donald J. Trump right before the show
And,
ends.
and then who's the president of the United States?
Joseph Biden.
Yeah,
Biden.
Biden.
I didn't know his middle
Do you
initial.
not know?
You know the president's name?
Joe Biden. We'll get him in at the turn of the hour. We'll get them both in. I think it was like 15 seconds each. So we'll get them both.
Antique Roadshow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to answer the question? You're okay, you're not okay with the pregnant pause while I ask her who RFK Jr.'s father was. But you're okay with that 3-second pregnant pause right there.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to
You're
ask
building
me
the drama.
question.
No, you know the question. You heard the question. I'll repeat it if you want. You wrote the question. Is what Evan said true? Do you agree with Evan Cohen?
Yeah, I agree with him. And that's politics aside. When you open your mouth like that in the offseason, you think things change when you're preparing for the season and you know you're healthy. All right, if you're off the handle, off the pain meds, you know your season's over in 2023. You had nothing to do all day but to read conspiracy theories and talk with Pat McAfee on the airwaves. You might get a little bit crazy, a little bit loopy. Your mind might wander. But he went with RFK. He went on like a hiking trip with him a couple of weeks back where they had those conversations. Probably why Aaron Rodgers is on the radar of this guy. You got to shut it down when it comes to actually preparing for the season.
Is Aaron Rodgers the biggest distraction? That's really the question, right? That's what Evan was arguing.
Of all time?
Yeah. I can't say of all time. No, I cannot. I cannot say that. In this window of which we speak, and there's recency bias, certainly because it is happening now, there have been players that have been significantly more of a distraction to their team and their organization. And not just Reggie Jackson with the New York Yankees, 1977, 1978. Things got a little better, I guess, after that. But for now, Rodgers is, and a lot of it comes from the fact that we make it as such. He's not saying, hey, over here, hey. Sometimes he's just letting things lie without addressing it and allowing us to do what it is that we do, because sports media is a 24-hour news cycle that needs clicks, eyeballs, and it needs consumption. Coming up when we return, NFL free agency gone wild. Beloved teammates becoming hated rivals. We talked about this yesterday a little bit, and even on Monday a little bit. But there's new faces in new places that maybe you weren't aware of, including right here in South Florida. And I'm going to ask you this flat out, simple. For those that are staying in division but leaving teams, which player of this versus that do you think has the chance to do the most harm to his former team? Because I was at a party last night off Worth Avenue in Via Miser. It was a little invitation thing celebrating the centennial of the Via Miser, which is one of the arcades right there, one of the areas with the restaurants and shops. And there was a sign that said, "The best revenge is massive success." It was a sign in lights. And for these players that are leaving teams, staying in division, going to rivals, I can't think of a better way to summarize it. The best revenge. You didn't want to pay me? You wanted to let me go? You didn't care after all that I did? What's the best form of revenge? Massive success.
Getting paid.
No, not getting paid.
Well, getting paid is part of massive success, Josh.
No. Massive success on the field, meaning you didn't want to keep me, you didn't need me, so now I'm doing this to you.
Okay.
Now I'm keeping you out of the playoffs. Now I'm ruining your season because that's success. The success of getting paid on payday is great. Bottom line is none of these guys really made out, particularly the running backs. They all averaged the same $8 million, which was less than the franchise tag. We'll do that when we come back. First, though, we were at the ballpark yesterday. We're at the ballpark on Friday. And Jeanette's back there again on Friday, this Friday, working the Houston Astros game. It's Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches.
Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. And this Friday is actually a huge game. The Phillies are in town. A little 2022 Houston Astros versus Phillies rematch. But that's not it. We also have Bark in the Park. And there's so many games in the last 2 weeks of spring training there at Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. For you, your family, 360-degree, stunning concourse filled with foods, drinks, and just a good time. CactiPark.com. Get your tickets now.
When is Bark in the Park again?
That's the 16th. The day.
Oh, no. That's Sunday, 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
St.
Patrick's Day, right.
Yes.
So here's what happens. I know the schedule. Phillies are Friday night with happy hour. Gates open early. Saturday doubleheader, which is fantastic. Sunday, St. Patrick's Day, that's Bark at the Park. That's Bring Your Dog Day.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a bunch of puppies and on St. Patrick's Day in a ballpark. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Coming up when we return, I ask C-Cat, who was Ken Griffey Jr.'s father? Can he go 2 for 2?
Thank you for giving me the whole break to think it over.
Home team.
That's not fair.
On ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. Unlock your ultimate wedge. Play with the new Vokey SM10 wedges. Visit us in store at Edwin Watts Golf Shops or online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at PNC.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at KaiserGolfCenter.com.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen from the Home Team. Let's play a little game of question and answer. Who has the largest fleet of luxury vehicles in South Florida? A1A Limo. Who offers an on-time guarantee or your money back? A1A Limo. And who?
Period. International.